Push. There we go.
This was another intense birth scene. A lot of that, man.
I was hoping we were going to get it sooner than later. She's next up to bat.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen videos of birthing on like YouTube. These women are like standing by a river and they just squat and like drop their own baby and catch it.
And catch it.
And then they walk away and like help deal with it. You know, there's people there with her, but like it's this thing people do. You can see videos of it. It's nuts.
You remember the opening scene of Leftovers, season 3? And there's a woman. She's like
yes, on the rocks next to the water.
Yeah, she's some primitive woman, and she gives birth, and then she's bit by a snake, and she's carrying the baby with the snake bite, and she's trying to get it somewhere before she dies, and I think some people find her. She collapses by the river, and some people find her. That was pretty brutal.
For sure. That was like a standalone kind of scene, too. It was like to be interpreted however you wanted compared to the following story, and it wasn't necessarily that similar. It was interesting, though.
I liked that about that show a lot. It had a lot of things that were up for interpretation. The last season especially, like, there's a lot that goes on that you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, totally. It's a wild kind of plot, and some of the like twists in it, you're like, holy...
I love that show. I love it when I'm watching something and I'm just like, oh, what's going to happen next?
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in what's happening next. There was a couple things in this episode I want to talk about. One of them in particular was the dragon training scene that we saw.
Oh, yeah.
That was super cool, little dragon lore moments.
Very.
You know, they're talking about how, you know, each dragon... is only going to listen to one owner's commands if you raise him like this. And so that's what they're going for, having like the solo bond with the dragon.
Very cool.
That was pretty cool. And, you know, I thought the joke between the boys could have happened to any of my kids. It seemed kind of harmless if they had giant pigs. It's like, you know, he was just around.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, he was like either the second or third biggest. One of the smaller ones was part of that joke. And
the situation gets worse because he goes into the dragon lair to like go do I don't know what, but that's what really makes the situation blow up a little bit. And you know, but when it first happens, all right, I get it, like he would be sad, but at the same time he's walking over there like, really, you found me a dragon, like, really? And then the pig comes out and he's like, yeah, all right, guys. Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
For sure.
That's it.
But then he just like rats on the other kids to his mom and starts a bunch of beef.
Well, so that's the second thing. I would say uphold the patriarchy at all costs. If you got to bully some of their royalty, they're got to be able to take this. Like, get them ready for, you know, someday they might have people poisoning them and locking them in their bedrooms to burn them alive and things like that. All sorts of different things could happen that would actually be substantial, life-altering bullying. So
that's serious bullying.
That's
for sure. Those kids are just playing.
They were just playing around. That is really neat. I do like seeing the little the dragon trainers with the kids, though. That's cool. But yeah, you get a sense that the dragon trainers. This is like an ancient thing going on.
Were they speaking Old Valyrian?
Old Valyrian.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Because this guy's speaking another language and it sounds dragony.
It sounds so cool. I was thinking that too as that was happening. It's such a cool.
Oh, I see that. He looks like Mike from Stranger Things. I see that.
Right? Right? He really does. The first shot of him in the episode, I thought it was Mike. I thought it was Mike from Stranger Things.
Wow.
And which I wouldn't have liked. I love when you get great actors you've never seen before. It really adds to things.
When the fire that kills Harwin and his dad, the Strong family, when that happens, at the end of the scene, it shows a bunch of bricks falling in the fire, like big blocks.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, like, am I missing something in the story? Was this a fire set by like men with torches, or was this like a dragon attack? I thought it was just a fire with torches.
It was
Why is there bricks?
controlled demolition.
Yeah, I mean, I
was
didn't hear
controlled demolition.
explosives. All of a sudden, it was just like bricks were falling apart, and like all the masonry was falling apart onto Harwin, and it was. I just was like, why is your shit falling apart like this? It does. It seems so like silly the way it was happening.
I heard that the night before they actually put in explosives, and the torches weren't real. They were actually CGI torches that were missiles.
Yeah, definitely. That's what they were intending.
Yeah, it did seem a little silly. They should have just had them burn. I would so much rather be picking apart, like, did the ceiling have to collapse on them? Than why did this guy go to the planet that is literally the last planet in the universe he should be? Or, like, how did Professor X just get his neck snapped in his own, like, war zone of the mind? By...
Why did she have to jump off this roof, off the next roof,
Exactly.
around a pole, and then back onto the original roof when she's in a rush, running? Just this stuff that doesn't make sense.
We'll definitely show that clip right there because it's so ridiculous.
Yes, dude, good.
Why did Luke just show up on this ship and kill all these robots and then walk over to the main characters of the show and just be like, say some weird esoteric Force stuff and then not ask any questions, just take the baby Yoda and leave?
Well, he kind of posed first and then left.
He did get the pose in. That's true. And the pose says a lot.
Him showing up blew my mind so much that like I couldn't keep track of what was happening after. So like I didn't even know it was bad. I was just like, "Oh my god, it's Luke!" I was probably saying that for a while. Like, kids, it's Luke.
I rewatched it a while later, like half a year later, and it really is weird. It's like he is a caricature of himself. Like he just comes in
God.
and he's all stoic and strange, and he doesn't ask anything. Like he doesn't ask what the hell is going on. Like what is this baby Yoda you have? Like why does this guy have the dark saber, or why do you have the dark saber? Who's the guy you killed who had the dark saber? Like he doesn't ask anything. He just leaves.
That's how you use the Force. He just knew. That's not how you use the Force, people out there.
No. So it's perspective. Like I have perspective. The things I'm picking apart with this episode, I will take over any of the shows that just came up. Just off the top of our head, problems that we've seen in recent products from these companies. And this is still a high bar, high grade. That Harwin Strong outburst in the yard after Sir Kristen was egging him on for a little bit there might be the most critical scene in the episode. Obviously, there's some other big things that happen, but this is what sets in motion the Harwin resigning as Hand of the King, and obviously leads to his death as well. Papa Strong and his son Harwin leads to their death. It leads to Alicent. She obviously feels like this is an opportunity because it's becoming more public. It's getting harder to maintain the ignorance with everybody. Puts Viserys in a worse spot. It makes Rhaenyra way more stressed. She's already a little bit stressed out, but after this happens, she's pretty much going into high alert. That's what sends her into the small council meeting when she's trying to make amends with Alicent, which fails, and they end up her and her family, they end up going to Dragonstone. All that stuff wouldn't have happened, at least the way it did happen, if it weren't for Sir Kristen. Sir Kristen.
Interesting. See, I see Alicent as more of the root of all of what happened in this, and I think her conversation and what she said to Kristen Cole when they walked earlier in the episode got him motivated into the mindset for this fight that you're looking at now with the boys on either side. And I think that she also had the conversation with her older son, which got him amped up against his nephew.
Honestly.
Aegon's nephew would be one of Rhaenyra's kids. So, Alicent gets her son kind of against the nephews.
That's true,
in
too.
that conversation. And then after both of those conversations that she has, those two guys get in like violent conflict, kind of. And like he does rage out against the cousin for a minute. Like even though he's telling him to keep going, he's ready to like chop his cousin who's on the ground, her nephew.
He is already aggressive as they went into it, and Sir Kristen made it worse for sure. It was a combo. He was
Yep.
he was already a little bit hot and bothered, and then Sir Kristen
For
was
sure.
just like, use your feet, don't let him up. He really wanted this to go overboard.
Yep. For
Yeah,
Sure. But I think that
makes sense, though.
Allison,
I could see that.
I think that Allison's kind of sparked his like that's why it's happening today kind of thing. Like put him in the mood for that because it's also 10 years. Like he's been.
This is, I think, the day after the kid's born. I do think,
Right.
To be fair to the 10-year gap,
I got you.
I think Allison even says one kid, like maybe, but 3? You're going to do this to us 3 times?
Yeah, she does.
And so
3 times is an insult.
I think that can be a part. I think that is a part of this too. One kid, it's like, all right, like a lot of us know you and your husband, we get what's going on. We're not stupid. 2 kids though, that's offensive. But then 5-6 years later, you're gonna do it again. Like no, like
Oh man.
so. I agree. I agree for sure. Sir Kristen is emboldened by Allison. Absolutely, he's
I
emboldened.
think so.
And then she says, "I have to believe that in the end, honor and decency will prevail." I think she feels like she did what she was supposed to do. She took on the responsibility that was given to her by her father. She was going through the motions and trying to do what was best at too young of an age. And now she is watching everything's falling apart. She knows what's coming. Everything's going to fall apart. And it's all not her fault in her mind. And if people want to find some blame to put in her, maybe there's some there too. But like, let's be honest. She's not the reason everything is going to at all. And she's trying to keep things together. So I say that to say, I think honor and decency really does matter to her. And I think she feels like she's done what she was supposed to do. We had some people trying to keep this all together. And anyways, so I really like this line. In the end, honor, decency will prevail.
It's so interesting, dude, because I honestly saw that as like what she was saying to trigger this guy to action.
Oh.
So it's just like it's an interesting thing. I'm wondering what's going to happen with them, but I think that this is her new like hound. Like she's setting this guy on people.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. I could see Sir Kristen walking away from that in that mindset. I could totally see that. I don't necessarily see Allison's motivation being that dire yet. I would be very surprised if Allison came out like, I want them to die.
Right. I don't think she wants them to die, but she obviously wants people
to
to
be
know
known.
that they're bastards.
Yes,
And
she
that
does.
would make her kids the rightful heirs.
Do you think, though, it's for the sake of her, or it's to make her son king? To make Aegon king?
I think that's the result of what
It would
she
be.
wants.
It would
I don't
be.
think, but it's connected because it's the result of what she wants. I think that the reason that she wants it is more because she wants someone who's doing bad to be punished. That's how I think of her. Like she sees her friend Rhaenyra. She lived a bad kind of life. She just kind of like who she wanted and whatever. She, however, is stuck with her old dad. And like, so I think that for her, it's like Rhaenyra needs to be punished. And that's her kind of her mindset. That's how I view her.
Huh. Interesting. I don't know. I just haven't seen her as being so devious. I mean, it just seems like the next level of resentment. I don't know.
Like the urgency of this scene that we're looking at right now, where she comes to him, like she could have said this stuff for so long. The fact that it's been 10 years is like a pretty significant thing. and she's just like telling him like, get your shit together. These are not your friends necessarily. They're going to be coming for your throne. All of that. And like she's like so urgent about it. Like she's like in his face.
Well, she's saying that they're going to try and kill you. It's what her dad told her 10 years ago.
Right, but but she knows that's going to have immediate effects on how he treats his what are they, nephews? Because right now they get along good. The last scene we just saw with them, they were all getting along great, except for the one they were making fun of.
Well, he is acting out. I mean, I would defend it as like kids being kids. He's 15 or so. Again, it's not
I
like
think
she's
she was
100%.
trying to stir him up. That's all. That's my prediction. I think that
It's
and I
almost
think
like
we'll
the
see that
opposite.
more in the future.
We'll
I think
see.
she's trying to stir him up. This whole episode kind of goes down a certain way because she demands Rhaenyra to go to her room and she's upset at her because she talks to Kristen Cole and because she does this and that. It's like a lot of stuff was affected by her being really upset this episode. Not that she didn't have a reason to be, but
Just a little bit. Right. Oh, she has reason to be. Oof.
and then not to mention Laris actually goes and kills
Oh, yeah.
Harwin and stuff,
Hell
and that's
yeah.
after he talks to her too.
Oh, there was that little thing, too.
So, are there any other dragon shows on the frontier? Because these dragons are getting me wanting more dragons.
To be honest, no.
Good. These next episodes better be full throttle dragons.
Oh, I'm wondering, because it's a lot of build-up. I love the political intrigue. I love all the complicated things going on between the characters, but, like, there's going to be some, we're going to have some battles.
Yeah, I
There's gonna be
mean,
some battles.
I could just be watching The Crown, you know? I'm watching Game of Thrones.
I mean, no dragons in the crown.
I really want to see what's happening with Laris next. What now after he burned his family alive?
Very much.
I'm very interested in how that plays out. If he really did somehow frame Allison, if people are going to suspect her, I don't know. I'm interested though.
For sure. So I think you were wondering more about the Strong family. I think.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with the Strong family.
Same.
I mean, there's so much going on, but the Strong family with Allison now and how that's going to pan out, just with her minor involvement. I mean, with with her, just that little conversation with Laris, it might be that he kind of figured this was a good time for him to take out his family because people are seeing her like outwardly stressed out about this situation, and they might pin it on her. That's my theory.
It might have been a great play, a perfect play, because I think you're right. The situation she's in right now, people around her are seeing she's stressed out. There's stuff going on. There's rumors, and I think people would not find it hard to believe that she was involved in that, especially after what people had been seeing over the last couple days. So, might have been a good play.
Right, and she might kind of owe him a favor now. Like that's what he said when he took the flower out. He was like, "Oh, I'm sure you'll pay me back someday," or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
what's that going to be?
We'll see.
He plucks that little red flower at the end there. You know what? You know what I think that's going to be. He's going to concoct a paternity test. Nah, I'm just kidding.
What?
What if? What if? So that's another thing. I'm going to look up some Harrenhal stuff. I'm going to see what's up with that flower. Find out some stuff about the Strongs. Well, the Strong now. There's only one.
And then there was one.
And there was one. All right. Okay, bye-bye.
Until next time, use your head.